Hey yo, Stevo, YouTube, how's it going? Hope y'all doing good today, man. I just want to touch on this subject. I recently got my personal trainer certificate, so I just want to talk about like the life after. For this is for anybody who's a beginner. If you're going for your certification, or if you're in school, or if you're thinking about getting your certification, I want to make this video specifically for you and the people that's doing this. So, yeah, just a little background. Me, like I've always been a fitness person. I've loved working out. Um, I'll mix it between science, biology, anatomy, physiology, and fitness. So I think this was a perfect mixture for me to jump into kind of both that realm. But the school I went to was WITS. I know there's other schools out there, NASM and other schools, right? So, and I know most of them are like online. You go online to them classes, you do them, and then you pass that exam, whatever that is, and then you get your certificate, right? The reason I chose the school WITS, right? I'm not sponsored by them, but the reason I chose them because me, I'm more of a hands-on type learner. I like learning physically. I like being around in a classroom setting with the teacher, so I can ask questions. I can interact with the teacher. You know, a partial part of it is a social networking, right? And then personal training, right? This is something they don't mention a lot, but a personal training is sales. You actually have to be good at sales, or if you ain't good, get good at sales. Like, cause a personal training, especially if you want to go independent and stuff like that, you definitely want to be good at salesperson. You definitely need to know how to hold a conversation with people and talk to people and come to people level. You definitely have to pick up on cues. You definitely have to be a good listener and an observer. Things like that. So yeah, I think so. So once you get into the school, whatever school you pick, right, doesn't matter online or not. You want to make sure in these classes you definitely want to study, because right, we all work jobs. You definitely want to study at least an hour or two a day. I would say at least an hour or two a day if you work a job, right? If you don't work, great, but I think still the hour a day. But my real tip is like while you're studying, um, the days you take a break, the days you're not studying or whatever, or you can't study, think about what you studied and been learning. Compare that to real life, right? You see somebody walk in every time they step and bend their knees, right? They're creating that rotational inertia in their legs. They're decreasing that. Um, every time if you at the club, somebody jumping, right? They're increasing their heart rate, increasing their body temperature. They're working their aerobic system um, over long periods of time. But when the party first start, they're working their anaerobic system off the bat. So, uh, yeah, different types of systems, and throughout the party, like okay, this person they've been standing there, and all of a sudden they started jumping up and dancing. Now their anaerobic system's going to work, and they were sitting there dancing the whole time. So now okay, they're getting to that. As a personal trainer, you can see things differently. When you go to the gym and work out, you can see like okay, they're working their joint muscle. Their their joints are aligned with the machines. Are they breathing properly? Like that's what I'm saying. So yeah, that's all my tip. Like that reinforces the information you learn. That's all I'm saying. Just reinforce the information as much as you can. I know I can talk on this, but yeah, that's a great tip. Yeah, go work out with somebody if you can. Go work out. That's the best way to kind of reinforce like what you learned, and you can kind of talk about that with whoever you're working out with while y'all working out at the same time. If you don't want to waste too much time being at the gym. But yeah, so that's my first tip on that. And then I know to learn what type of learner you are, right? Like in school, we probably should have learned it while we was in high school, whatever. If you went to college, whatever. But learn what kind of learner you are, right? Like I just said, I'm a hands-on like the learner. I can learn visually too. I'm an observation listener, but when I actually do something is when I learn the best and the most. But I think everybody can agree with that. yeah, what way learns you the best, right? Everybody love to throw out the flashcards, the website, the questionnaires, the quizzes. And I'm being honest, I didn't do none of them. I ain't do none of them. I ain't create no flashcards, nothing. I literally was like, what I just did was compare everything I studied, compare that to the real world, and I talked it over with somebody. And then as I was reading slow, reading to learn, visualizing what I was reading, really getting the message that they were sending to me. And that, honestly, this can be applied to anything you learn. Honestly, not even just like personal training, whatever. Because even like you want to be a physical therapist or something along sciences or anything like so. That's a great way. To me, that's a great way to learn. So yeah. So take notes. Take notes. Everybody know that. Take notes. It's easier. It's easier to when you write stuff down, speaking it, writing it, reading it. Right. When you write stuff down, that definitely reinforces it for me. It's easier to go back to the notes you've written versus a chapter you read. Trying to find it in the chapter or trying to search for that outline, that line that sentence that you outlined in that chapter or highlighted in that chapter. It's easier to go back. Just pull up your notes on it. You got it right there on the sheet versus a chapter you flipping through pages to get to that highlighted. So that's my next note. If you're a new person, before you start that school, I should have made this my first point. Before you even start this certification, right? Make sure you want to be a personal trainer, right? That's obvious. Make sure you have a love for fitness, right? If you got that, perfect. Make sure there's jobs. Make sure there's jobs hiring. See what the jobs are hiring, right? See if them jobs are enough for you at the time, right? See if they can get up to what you want to pay in your area. Because I know they depend on the area sometimes. As a personal trainer, you can make good money, but you're not going to make it at first. So if you work in a job or you need to pay bills or whatever, and then you still want to go be a trainer, you might have to start off as a keeping trainer on like a part-time side hustle a little bit, and then work your way up to it. But yeah, in your area, see what jobs are available. See what they pay. See if there's entry level. That's another key. That's the biggest key too. See if there's entry level positions for a personal trainer. See if there's jobs they'll accept brand new trainers to come in, and they'll work their way up the experience, right? Because that's the thing about this career, is these employers, they really don't like hiring somebody who's new. Like you could tell them all day, right? Like you train people, boom, boom. You train family, you train friends, you train coworkers. You can tell them all day, you train people, you train this and that. But if you've never been hired as a personal trainer, all somebody else got to do is come in and say they got it, and then they throwing you out the window. I'm just being honest. Like, if you ain't got no experience actually being hired as a trainer, they really probably ain't even gonna trust what you say 9 times out of 10, right? That's why the internship is good, right? You get the experience of that intern. You make sure that's a solid experience. But at the same time, too, it's like, you go through this intern, you shadowed somebody, but you still never worked as an actual trainer, so figure out if you can. So, and then 9 times out of 10, it's kind of hard getting the internships because you physically got to go and find out who's, like, it's not just out there. You got to search for what type of internships. Like my school, they gave us a list of different type of gyms that offer internships. Because after I passed my exams, I had 2 exams. I had a physical one where I had to make assessments. I had like a mock client, so I had to make assessments for them. I had to show them assessments, different type of stretches, static stretches, not the dynamic. But it was either dynamic. I had to do either dynamic or warm up, right? A regular warm up, right? You can dynamic stretch to warm up though too, also. But yeah, so it was assessments, warm-ups, stretch, and then we got into our regular weight resistance, weightlifting, something like that. And for the weight resistance, it was some type of upper body. It's like 2 upper bodies, 1 lower body. So, and then we had a written exam, maybe 100 questions. So, passed both of them, and then they gave us a list of internships, right? And then they just, like, after they said you passed, they gave you that list. It was kind of like they just kind of threw you to the wolves, right? Just threw you aside. So here you go. So it was like, okay, we gave you a certificate. Now it's up to you to go get the career, right? And you a new person. You don't know where to start at, what to do. You got to email a bunch of people and hope they respond, right? So it was like, dang, I was kind of like, okay, I paid some good amount of money for this just for them to just, they gave me a certificate, but that didn't guarantee me a job just because I had the certificate, right? I was extremely excited that I got it, but so now it's like, dang, okay, I gotta figure out how to either get the internship or get some type of experience. But me, I was planning to get the internship. So yeah, I started emailing a bunch of people, but it's like nobody was responding really. So, I started doing, and then so I just started doing interviews. But yeah, like I said, they need somebody with that experience, and I get it. It's just because like you don't want to hire somebody new, because even an experienced trainer, incidents can happen where somebody get injured. So a brand new one, it's almost like they kind of deem you and guarantee you to fuck up or mess up on somebody, right? And because soon as the injury happened, then we're fear, some type of lawsuit, liability, negligence, different terms people can pull out there, especially negligence. That's probably the biggest one. Negligence is something that happens to a client under an activity that a professional, something that happens that shouldn't under the watch of a professional, that normally wouldn't have happened, right? So some type of injury that you didn't watch for or avoid happening, and it happened. That's negligence, right? So yeah, man. This, you got to know the type of paperwork. There's paperwork with it. Health screens, PARQs, questionnaires, right? So, I would say though, after it does feel good to get your certificate. If you really personal train, this is something you gotta stick with. Make sure you love to do this. Make sure you're committed to this, right? Make sure you have some income on the side after you graduate, or during and after you get your certificate. Make sure you got a way to make some money after this, so you're not stressing out completely. In other words, keep your job, you know what I'm saying? But make sure you also got time to maybe go intern at some gym, ask some gyms if they intern, show your face to people. You're gonna have to talk, you're gonna have to email, you're gonna have to express you're gonna have to show your knowledge of what you learn on things and show your expertise, right? You may be brand new, but if you know what you're talking about, you can win people over. And you can win that. Like, you can inspire people to, you can convince people, hey, look, I want this, I'm determined about this. If you got any slight knowledge, even the slightest more knowledge than the average person, like in this, you probably can get in somewhere. So, I do encourage you, I do encourage anybody watching this, like, if you want your personal training certificate, go get it. But remember, you work hard and you gotta be disciplined. Just the same way you disciplined at that gym, you gotta be disciplined to go get this career. So, that's the video for today, man. Like and comment if this helped. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Peace.